From the last video that we recorded, we were able to gather users information using the console right here, which basically sets us up for being able to maybe build something like a desktop application in the future. So what we're going to do in this one is that we need to see a way to actually validate some of these fields right here that we have. We do have two fields in here, which is a name and an email. But I discovered that once you type something into the email field, and whether it has something like an @ symbol or something like a dot, it just goes just fine without complaining. All right, so we want to look for a way to actually validate that. And even for the name field right here, in fact, I want to test that. If I hit on run, and you see that of course, if I do the space right here without typing anything and then press enter, you see that it runs just fine without complaining of anything. And it goes to the next one, which is about the email right here. So if I say, let me type something like Chito right here, and I do not actually add something like an @ symbol or anything of that nature, if I press enter, you see that it validates just fine. It says hello, and then it prints out an empty space right here, which is basically what we did right here. We did not actually type anything. We just press the space bar, and it has just printed that out using that as a name. And then you say that your email is Chito right here. And if you take a look at this is clearly not an email. So we want to validate it and make sure that it kind of looks for the items that are actually needed to be able to have something like a name and then that of the email before it can actually move ahead. So to do this, what I want to do right now is that I basically want to go ahead and then create a new file. So if we go right here and let's say something like validate, maybe underscore form, open that up, and I want to use this page to see how easy that we can actually do that. Of course, we're going to basically repeat this thing that we did right here, but we're going to do it in another style. So to do that right now, the first thing I want to do is to create a function. So I'm going to just do dev, and what I want to call it get underscore name, or we could just call this valid. Let's call that valid underscore name, and we can actually go ahead and then throw in our colons right here and then get on the next line. What I want to do first, I want to create a variable for the name field. So if I do this right here, let's go ahead and I set that to input, which means that we're going to just basically use this particular place to like ask them for their name. So I'm going to just do enter your name, to throw in a colon right here. So we're going to just say enter your name right here, and right here we're going to just do something like dots. Remember that the one we did earlier, if we press space, it picks that space as part of the name that you basically want to use. So if you want to get rid of that space right here, we're going to just pass in this particular function here called a strip, and let's throw in this quotation right here, and that is it for that line. I think that this isn't actually correct. This kind of needs something like open and close brackets right here just to make sure that that's just basically a function. So we do have that on that particular line, and of course you know what this is. So let me just throw in a comment here and just say something like remove. We just say something like removes leading, maybe something like trailing spaces. So that's just basically what this line is actually going to, this particular function is going to do for us, right? So from here to here is basically going to go ahead and then ask for someone to just basically enter their name, but then we're going to just append this onto that to make sure that it's a kind of do not actually make use of a spaces that we are going to, that is actually going to that people are actually going to type right there. All right, so if you press enter on the next line, we want to use if statement to now check for the property that we want. So if you say if right here, I'll just say if name, I'm going to throw in my colon, and what I want to do with this is to just basically return name. So if this isn't actually met, if we are in a situation where somebody just press something like a space or they not even type anything at all, we go ahead and then still return this particular line for the person. All right, so that's just basically instead of it moving to the next thing, maybe the email field, we want to go ahead and now return the name for the person to make sure that the person types the name in before the person can actually proceed. All right, so we have that in there. So on the next line, we want to go ahead, we can just go ahead and just do print, and within this place we just basically want to display the error for the person in case they ever made a mistake and they did not actually meet the criteria that is actually needed right here. So we're going to do a printing here, and I'm going to just do cross. In fact, I think I would need something like a red closing button right here, or a red X right here. So let me go ahead and put this one right here. So I need a red cross, and what I want to do in here is to go ahead, once I put that in, we can now type the message in here. We're going to just say name. Let's say name cannot be empty or something of that nature. All right, so name cannot be empty. That's what I'm just basically trying to get out on that line, and we can just say something like please enter a valid name, something of that nature. So I believe that with that line we should be able to like maybe tell them what we basically want. All right, so we have that in there. So if I press enter, of course this one is actually going to work for the name, but we want to work on that of the email field, right? So to do that, let's do that down here. And I'm going to create a new function for that, which I'm just going to say get underscore. Let's take this away. And I want to change name that I have in here. Instead of calling this a name, what we basically want is to say something like email. So which means get valid email right here. So let's throw in our quotes in here. I mean our colons, and then we'll move to the next line. And of course, I think we do need to have def keyword right here just to make sure that that's just basically a function. All right. So we have that in there. So the next thing I want to do is we're going to use a while loop right here. And I think we even made a mistake in the first one right there. We are supposed to like throw in a while loop up here, which is just going to be while true, and we can go ahead and then do whatever that we have actually done down here, right? So that's the same thing we're going to basically do in down here. So to continue, we're going to just say while true, and what we basically want to do with that is to just say this time around we're referencing to email, so we should just say something like email right here, and we're setting that to be equal to, we just basically almost the same thing that we got on this line. So I'm going to copy this and I put that right here. And what I want to do with that, let's take this away. I'm just basically referencing to email. So we can just go ahead and then tell them something right here. So I'm going to just first of all, so let's just say something like enter your email right here. So we'll change this to email. And of course, this particular thing is actually going to work in here. So we should just basically leave it the way that it is right there. And after that, the next thing that we basically want to do is to use our if statement to kind of a check for whether what the person have actually entered here includes something like an @ symbol. So we're going to just do if @ and this is just basically we're going to check this in a variable that is actually called an email. So we're going to just say in email right there, and we want to check for another thing, which is just basically a dot. So I'm going to just say and I'm going to just draw a dot inside of this particular place, and we're also basically still checking that inside of email variable. So I'm going to just say in email again right there. All right, so that is just what that is actually doing for us. And this is just, I'm going to put a comment in here and just call this basic email check. Let's call that just check or validation. All right, so we got that on that particular line. So the next thing I want to do, maybe if in a situation where it couldn't actually meet these things, that the condition that we got right here, we can just go ahead and then return the email variable for them. So we'll do email, and then with that means that they are actually going to be presented with enter your email again within that particular place. So we have that right now. So in the next line, what you want to do is you just basically go ahead and then print. So I'm going to just copy this line right here and then put it right here. All right, so let's go ahead and paste that. And I don't know why that is actually doing that. If we, okay, I think I opened a new file. I have to just close that up right there. So I just copied and pasted this particular line right here, but then we need to change the information that is actually here. So we're going to just say something like invalid email format, something of that nature. So let's do invalid format. All right, so we can just go ahead and then tell them to go ahead and then enter a good email right there. So I will just do please enter a valid. That is the thing that we need on those lines right here. So the next thing I want to basically do right here is in a situation where they now enter the correct details that we want. What do we basically want to do? We can just go ahead and then collect those valid inputs. So let me put a variable, I mean a comment right here, just say collect the valid details or something of that nature. All right, and to collect that, I'm going to just do name right here, and so I'm going to just basically set that to the function for that of the name, which I'm just basically going to copy this particular function that we got right up here. So I'm going to copy this and then print that on this particular line right here. So let's copy and paste that. So with that line alone, we've actually collected the name. And after that, I want to copy this and I put that on the next line because I also want to do the same thing for the email. So this is going to be email, and I want to change this right here from what it is right now to something like email. So with that line also, we've also been able to collect the valid email, right? So down here, we can just print out something right here. So I'm going to just do print, and this print right here, we're going to just format this by adding our F literal right there. And we can just say something like, I'm going to just basically put a check mark right here. So let me do that. I want to copy and paste the check mark in here. All right, so I do have the check mark copied to the clipboard. I'm going to paste it right here, and I want to go ahead and just say hello. And who am I saying hello to? It's just basically going to be the person's name right here, right? So I'm just copy that, and then I want to throw in my curly braces so that it can dynamically print the person's name in there. Let me introduce a comment here, and I'm going to just say your email is, so I'm going to just do is, and basically what I want to do right here is that I want to copy this right here and then paste that right here, and I want to change this to email. so that it will be dynamic. All right, so it's going to say something like hello, whatever name you entered, and it says that your name, I mean your email is. It's going to just go ahead and print the person's email right here. So let's save the changes on this page, and if you scroll a little bit up, we're going to see that I don't think we got any errors right here. This line looks like this code is unreachable. Okay, so this particular, I think we need to indent this towards the left a little bit, right? So to do that, not even only this, I think we need to just highlight from here down to this particular place and then press our tab one more time just to indent that a little bit, right? So let's save the changes, and you see that that error has gone. So if we run this code right here, we see where it's actually asking us for a name right here. So if I do something like a space in here and I press enter, you see it prints the error page right here. I mean, the error message says that name cannot be empty. Please enter a valid name, and then it tries to return the same field for you so that you can just a way. It's just looking for a way to force you to put the valid name right there. So if we do Chijioke right here, maybe David, and press enter, you see that that goes just fine, right? And then it moves to the next person. It's asking for email right now. So if we do Chito and we did not actually enter, maybe if we enter an art, but we did not actually enter the next thing that we need, we'll just call it at Gmail, but we're not going to actually enter something like .com or something of that nature, all right? So I'm going to take this away, but then if I press enter, it's going to complain against that particular email that email is actually not valid. So that's an invalid email, and then it returns the field for you to basically enter the email again. So every time we enter the right email, so if I do the load of apps at gmail.com, this one should just basically go through because it contains an @ symbol and also has a dot right here. So if we press enter, you see that that's just basically gonna go through, even though says enter your email. I think we do have an issue right here. This is basically supposed to really go through. So let's take a look at our code and see if we made any mistakes with that of the email section right here. I am just basically expecting this particular line to get printed out right there. All right, so maybe if I press enter again, I think, okay, wow, I think I needed to like just press enter again on that line to be able to see this right here. So look at it right here. So it says hello Chijoke David, your email is a lot of apps right here. So I don't think I did anything to the code. I just needed to press enter key again to be able to get this out for us. So take a look at the code right there. All right, so this is just a basic way of validating your inputs, and I believe that you guys kind of understand that very well. And if you like the video, feel free to give the video a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel and you wish to do so, it's completely okay. And I think that I will see you guys in the next one, and that's it.